All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're unpacking a story about desperation, about death, and about a piece of technology that just completely rewrites the rules of life itself. We're talking about the resurrection chamber. And right from the jump, you get this chilling thought that sets the tone for everything. When you're fighting for your very survival, almost isn't a victory. It's just another word for failure. So let's set the scene. We're in a city called Lothora. It's day 8 of a brutal, relentless siege. It's the middle of the night, 0311, and you can just feel the pressure building. And at the very heart of this pressure cooker is Dr. Rila. I mean, she is being pushed way past any normal human limit. We're talking 36 hours with no sleep. Her hands are shaking, her eyes are burning, and why? Because she is the one and only architect of the Decoherence Choir, a superweapon that is their last hope. The problem? It's only 87% finished. And for her, the math is brutal and simple. Every hour I sleep is 1,000 more dead. You know, what's so compelling here is the clash between our two main characters. On one side, you've got Commander Vortal. He's a soldier, fresh off the front lines, literally wearing the battle on his scorched armor. And on the other side, you've got Dr. Rella K, surrounded by equations, fighting the exact same war, but on a totally different front. He sees her, this brilliant but exhausted mind, and demands she get some rest, but she just looks at the casualty numbers and refuses to stop. They're both shouldering the same impossible weight, just from completely different worlds. But all that quiet, desperate tension in the lab, well, it's about to be shattered. We're moving to the inner corridors just a few minutes later, and everything is about to erupt into total chaos. And then it happens. A new kind of alarm goes off. One so deep and visceral, it feels like it's vibrating in your bones, in your teeth. A perimeter breach. The thing they thought was impossible has happened. The enemy isn't at the gate anymore. They are inside. So, who is this enemy? They're called Prism Troops. Now get this, they're multi-bodied soldiers, but they all share a single mind. And the real kicker? They can phase between dimensions. So they're not breaking down doors. They're more like sharks swimming through the very fabric of reality to get you. And that's exactly how they did it. Vortal confirms the absolute worst-case scenario. All their walls, their defenses, their lines, they meant nothing. The enemy didn't have to break through the front door. They just appeared in the hallway. Which brings us to this moment, the ambush. It's 0326, just 2 minutes after that first alarm, and the impossible becomes this horrifying, intimate reality. The attack is just brutally efficient. It happens so fast. At the 0-second mark, the Yelleth fires a single shot. 5 seconds later, a wave of crystallization starts spreading from the wound in Rella's chest. And just 10 seconds after that, her consciousness isn't just gone, it's been copied, it's been stolen. The whole thing is over in 15 seconds. You see, this isn't just a weapon that kills. It's a technological process. It's horrifyingly methodical. Step 1, freeze. The body is flash crystallized. Step 2, extract. Everything that makes you you, your consciousness, your memories, it's all copied. And finally, step 3, discard. The empty crystalline shell is just left behind. But this isn't where her story ends. Vortal refuses to give up. He races her body to the Resonance Hospital for one last desperate Hail Mary play. This is the Soul Anchor Gambit. And this really is the central question of the whole thing, isn't it? I mean, how do you bring someone back from that? How do you even begin to reverse a process that's designed to be so absolute, so final? Well, the answer, or the hope of an answer, lies in the resurrection chamber. And you gotta understand, this thing is completely experimental. It's untested. The whole idea is to use these 7 massive soul anchor rings to create a resonance field that can, well, literally anchor a consciousness, a soul, before it's gone for good, long enough to rebuild the body. The procedure they're about to attempt is just staggering. Okay, think about this. First, they have to create the anchor. Then they have to somehow capture her soul as it's leaving. Then lock that consciousness back into her body. Then they have to physically rebuild her crystallized tissue with thousands of tiny biotech filaments. And only then can they even try to restart her heart. I mean, any single one of those steps fails, and it's over. And yet, against all odds, it works. At 0341, just 15 minutes after she died, R'lyeh wakes up. But she is not the same person who was shot in that corridor. The change is immediate and profound. Before, she had brown eyes. Now they're this luminous, impossible blue. She went into that ambush as an exhausted scientist, fighting a war she was losing. She came back as something else, a resonant being who now understands the enemy on a level no one else possibly could. So where did this new insight come from? In her own words, she says she saw the lattice. She describes it as this cosmic web. All of them, all of us, billions of voices, all woven together into one single song. She didn't just die, she crossed over and saw the source code of the universe. And that brings us to the final, absolutely terrifying revelation she brought back with her. The truth, the real reason this war is even happening. Because she experienced it, Rella now understands what the Yeleth weapon is really for. It doesn't just kill, it's a data extraction tool. It copies everything, not just your knowledge, but your memories, your dreams, your love, your fear, all of it. The crystal body left behind, that's just an empty hard drive. It's proof that the data transfer was successful. So this brings us to the $1 million question, right? The absolute core of this whole conflict. If they aren't just trying to kill them, then what in the world are the Yeleth? And this is the answer she gives for Tal. It is a truth so much worse than war. We're not their enemies. We're not even their prey. We're just nourishment. They're not fighting a war for territory or ideology. They're being harvested. But in that horrifying truth, there is a tiny sliver of hope, because by understanding their nature, she also understands their weakness. These are beings of pure logic, pure order. So, chaos, that can hurt them. But contradiction, something that fundamentally breaks their logic, that doesn't just hurt them, it breaks them. And that's where we'll leave this part of the story. Rella was saved, yes. And she came back with the key to potentially winning this entire war. But you're left with this deep, unsettling question to chew on. What part of the original Rella was lost forever in that process? And maybe more importantly, what exactly came back in her place?